Joining us now from Florida is someone who doesn't believe that James Van Prague and John Edwards speak to the deceased. He is magician and investigator of unusual phenomenon, James Randi. Also in Florida is someone that James Van Prague asked that we have on to debate Randi, psychiatrist Brian Weiss. He's the author of the best-selling book about reincarnation called Many Lives, Many Masters. James, your comment on what you've seen and observed here?
Well, Charles, you introduced me as a skeptic and possibly a cynic. I certainly am a skeptic, no question to that. And after watching this demo by these two gentlemen, I'm much of a cynic as well.
Why is that, James?
Well, this is sort of a glorified game of 20 questions, except that it involves 260 questions. Now, not on this particular broadcast, but on one test case of James Van Prague, when he had a 60-minute reading with a single woman he hadn't met before. He asked her 260 questions and never gave her one fact. That's more than one question every 14 seconds. You have to ask a lot of questions to get them all in. It's a game of 20 questions, of second guessing, of leading, and jumping on the ones that win and forgetting the ones that don't.
But if someone were able to determine someone's birthday in a short period of time, as I believe just happened here, I couldn't hear it all too well, well, how would you interpret that?
I would consider that to be miraculous.
But isn't that what happened?
No, it isn't.
Did that happen?
No, the gentleman came up with August the 14th.
John, did you feel that you determined someone's birthday?
I know what I saw.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to comment really quickly on that piece that he was on. He works a lot with the producers of these shows, like 48 Hours, who edit out everything to slanted, because I had many hits. And I also said, who is John? John, that was the lady's husband. He goes, well, everyone knows a John.
No, let me make a correction on that, Mr. Van Prague. Let me make a correction. You came up with 27 names, one of which was John. And when I mentioned to the people, the producers of that program, that you came up with 26 names that were not John, they cut that out of the piece that they broadcast. So let's get the facts straight.
Oh, I must tell you also that afterwards the lady went back home and she found that a lot of the details were completely accurate, and some of the names were completely accurate also.
Not
if
at
you
all.
Want to check
No,
that out.
that's a lie. That is not true.
You, it's a lie. Well,
that is not true. You said to look in a second drawer and you would find that she would find, pardon me, a second watch. She didn't find that, and she also didn't get the phone call that you said she would get.
It was not a watch. It was a heart with diamonds, which she found later. Not
it was a watch.
I'm sorry, you're mistaken.
It was a watch.
But James, when we're dealing with allegedly spirits from the other side, wouldn't it be a given that it would be quite imperfect, to put it mildly?
Well, no, listen, when Van Prague comes up with things, sentences like, she's saying yes because I'm her husband, how come that husband can't come up with his name as well? How is it that they say, oh, my name starts with H, or they hear H someplace, but they're able to come up with complete sentences from then on? That's rather astonishing to me.
Let me hear from Brian Weiss. Brian, you want to comment on what you've seen?
Sure. I don't think you have to look at other shows. Just look at your own show. You've seen not just a birthday, which is one chance out of 365, gold necklaces, cookbooks, loose pages in the cookbooks. I think the most important thing is to keep an open mind. And Randy's mind is just not open. He's already referring to other shows that nobody here has even really seen. We've just seen your show. It's a wonderful show. There are lots of hits by both John and James. And as a psychiatrist who's been studying this work for more than 20 years, I have to say that Randi is just a cynic. His mind is already made up. His mind is not open. He will not accept anything new, so he can watch 20 direct hits in a row, and he'll still come up with answers that make no sense.
All right, let's get back to the gold bracelet, the gold necklace. I knew Telly Savalas. I used to talk with him frequently in Hollywood when I was doing shoots of various kinds there for TV years ago. And Telly always had a gold necklace on, a very heavy one. He had a variety of them. He had gold bracelets as well. That's a shot which is bound to hit.
But
there's no miracle there. And a birthday was not located. The man said August the 14th, and he said, does that mean anything to you? And the gentleman came up with his own birthday, yes.
Well, that does seem to be kind of remarkable, doesn't it? That you're speaking to someone whose birthday is August 14th?
No, if he says your birthday is August the 14th, then we got a hit. But someone's birthday has got to be August the 14th.
But if he said to me that does the date April 21st mean something to me, and I said that's my birthday, I would consider that quite significant, wouldn't you?
Well, significant, if you want to read significance into it, Charles. The mistakes that were made on your reading here, the readings that were done by both John and by James today, can stand careful analysis. The reason I didn't analyze them was I want to take them home on tape, transcribe them, and then do an analysis. Charles, I'll send it to you, and I'd like you to see my analysis of that reading.
Okay, James. Thank you, and thank you, Brian. How do you guys feel? I mean,
Well, I would say that this man, this Randi, he has credentials. He has no credentials in the paranormal whatsoever. He's a magician. He has no background in this sort of thing. He doesn't know the mechanics of mediumship. He doesn't know the aspects of mediumship, how spirit communicate. So he doesn't. So what his word means nothing to me.
John, what do you feel now?
Nothing. I think that everybody has a right to their opinion. I think for the people out there that need to have a Randi opinion, that's why we have Randi. And I welcome it. It's like, knock yourself out.
How often do you fellas do this?
Well, I do it like, now my book came out, so I'm across the country doing a book tour. But that's like once a month I do lectures across the country.
And how often do you do it, John?
Do this?
Not on television, but how often do you do what you do?
A few times a week.
2 times a week?
No, a few times a week.
A few times a week. And do you do it privately or?
Privately, in groups,
and
lectures.
Is there, are you wealthy?
No.
No, you don't become wealthy being a medium. I mean, if I get something from a book, fine, but that's not what you go into it for. The motivation has to be to bring service to humankind, to bring up the consciousness, to bring that love and healing and proper closure to people who suffer from this, and realize there's no death, there's only life. That's what it's about. That's why we do this work.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you both been doing it? For several years?
I've been involved with this since 1985.
And you, James?
About 14, 15 years.
The same amount of time. And I asked you this before, but I'm not sure of the answer. As you go forward in your life, is your life dominated by this gift?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can't not be. I mean, when you're there, I mean, it's an energy of love, and when you're around that, you can tune into that. How could it not be?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, John Edwards. Thank you, James Van Praagh. Thank you to James Randi and to Brian Weiss, and I'll be right back with a final word. The program was of some benefit to some of you. I couldn't hear all of it, so I'll have to look at it myself and see what I think. But anything that gives us hope in a life hereafter, of course, is to be desired. And we will have our skeptics or cynics, and we will have our optimists and believers, and that's the way it's going to be.